So,
or you can not sit on your knees, sit on the floor.
well, I keep changing, I keep shifting. So, so Yasho Vijayji and Vinay Vijayji, so they got the book for one night, and there were 1200 sloks. So Yasho Vijayji memorized 700 sloks, Vinay Vijayji memorized another 500 sloks in one night. And then based on whatever they had received, they wrote the book, Shanta Sudaras. So how much efforts have gone through to create this book, and over 700-800 years, it went on and on and on. Ultimately, Jin Chandra Maharaj, he's our existing Jain Muni, is based in Tithal in Gujarat. And whenever they go for Chomasu, because for 4 months they stay at one place, because they think that, because there are a lot of germs and everything in the atmosphere because of the monsoon, they don't want to create any kind of, violence. So they stay put at 4 months. Otherwise, they're continuously going from village to village to village on bare feet. They always travel. Except in 4 months, they stay at one place. So that's where they share their knowledge with the people like us, and that's how he gave a talk in Mumbai, and Vijay had this tape. So that's how we got into Shanta Sudaras. So we went through the whole idea of the Shanta Sudaras is it's a bhav granth. So you have to change your bhavs, and bhavs is what decides your ultimate action. Because we are so materialistic, so our mind is focused outside all the time. Whenever we have problem outside, we want a solution from outside. But we don't realize that whatever action we perform outside is decided by our thoughts. And our thoughts, the purity of our thoughts, or the direction of our thoughts is decided by the direction of our bhav. So, like I always give an example, mother cooking for the son, there is a bhav in it. And then the efforts become effortless. The mother cooks but at the same time, if the guests are coming which are unwanted, and, and pots and pans are flying in the kitchen, he says, why do I have to do this and that and all that?
If your mother-in-law comes.
So bhav, vichar and kriya, that's a synchronization. And whenever you have integration of the three things, so you do the same action, good morning, you do the same action with a different bhav, creates a different scenario altogether and brings a peace. Because whenever there is a disintegration, the mind is restless. Even though mind gets caught in between, because bhav is different, action has to be different, depends upon the social situation. So mind is feeling the tanav. So the stress exists at the mind level only when there is no thought-speech integration. That's what Chinmayanand says. Thought and speech has to be integrated all the time. Either you change your thoughts and make a positive thoughts all the time, so action, whatever is there. If your thoughts, you cannot change it, your action, keep it perpendicular, keep it parallel to your thoughts, so at least there is no disintegration. So, but whenever there is a disintegration, your mind gets disturbed. And he believes, and maybe it is true, a lot of these psychological diseases nowadays are probably rooted deep into that, because the way the society is going, the society is becoming more and more civilized outside, so-called civilized. But our minds are becoming more, and because we are so focused outside and we acting for ourselves, not caring about others, yet at the same time we have to care about others because there is a law, there is this, there is a civilization, we have to act according to that, and yet the minds are not there. So that's why Ramesh Bayoza says there is a lot of buddhi, but there is no shuddhi. So shuddhi and buddhi are getting apart. So that may be the reason why we are seeing a lot of psychological illnesses in this country and spreading all over. So also
it's increasing.
Absolutely,
right,
yeah. I used to think when I started my practice, I said, the psychiatry is just up in the air. I never believed that it exists, right? And I said, they just make castles in the air and give it for rent to the patients. They say, okay, rent this and you rent that. That's how they make money. But I realized that since I went into the practice, and then every third, fourth patient walks in has some kind of issues going on, anxiety, and the stress, and the depression, and even in pediatric level, I'm sure things are happening even more, right? Teenagers are so much torn in between.
Panic, anxiety, depression.
And single parents' life, and it's like the society is just fragmented. It's all because of the thought speech disintegration. So bhav, vichar and kriya. So bhav shuddhi is very important. And it's not important just from the society point of view, but for your own point of view, because you want to have peace. Shant, Sudha, Ras. Sudha is the Amrut, Shant is the Shanti, and Ras is the essence, right? So there are so many bhavs. There is a Krodh bhav, there is Moh bhav, there is Kam bhav. All those bhavs are part and parcel of the Atma, right? But Atma cannot be in other rases all the time. How long can you stay angry? How long can you hate people? Ultimately you give up. I said, I cannot take this anymore. But Shanti, you can always have it. Because that is the original nature of Atma, is to be Shant. And Shant is the happiness. So if that's what you want, then this is for you. Otherwise it's not.
Disintegration, you said that thought, like, what do you mean by thought, mind, disintegration?
Well, that's what I said. The vertical integration, bhav, vichar and kriya, right? So if your bhav is one and your kriya is another, you're lying to yourself, right? You hate the guests in the house, and yet you're trying to show that you love
Smiling
them.
face, yeah.
You give the smiling face,
So
you
there
love
is
them.
disparity between the thought
Exactly.
and the action.
Exactly.
Oh.
You are thinking something, but you are
Exactly.
doing something.
Right. So that disintegration creates at the subconscious level tremendous amount of friction. And that friction disintegrates your mind. So mind is continuously stressed. So either you keep your actions exactly the way your thoughts are, you tell them that, I'm sorry, we cannot attend to you or whatever, in a practical way. if it
Sorry,
is
you get out.
practical. Or,
I'm sorry, get out.
a lot of times it's not possible.
Possible.
Right.
Not all time it's
No.
not possible.
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, I don't like you. Sorry.
But
You're not sorry.
Or you change your...
I'm sorry.
But you're not sorry. You're saying something and
See,
Don't say I'm
this is
sorry,
not
I
a-
don't like you. Just say I don't like you.
yeah, that's better.
But how do you do
That
it?
sounds
This
better.
is not only
No.
at the house level, but at your work also.
Right.
So many things you don't
Well,
like.
that's
but
why-
you have to do it.
That's why the solution is more inside. The solution is inside, you start liking it and liking them. So the disliking...
How do you do that?
Well, there are a lot of arguments. There are a lot of spirituality arguments. Rajneesh puts it, I've been listening to Rajneesh lately. He makes a very good point. He says, whatever situation is in front of you, if you don't like it, that means you're not happy with your own nature. The situation that you are in is a creation of the niyati, is the creation of the universality, has created situation. Anytime you dislike the situation, then you're not happy with your existing situation. But that's where the problem comes in. So whatever is not there, you're trying to acquire something else. Whoever is in front of you, if you don't like them, then you want them to be replaced by someone you like. And so that ultimately hurts us. So our dislike for the situation creates the disturbance of the peace. And yes, it's not easy sometimes, but for the most of the times, a lot of times we can do it. It's the thing is to change ourselves. And when you change ourselves, then things become easy, because then it's not just the negative acceptance but positive acceptance of the moment that ultimately is inevitable. Whatever has happened, and Dada Bhagwan says, Baniyo chukado, ane bhogwe ani bhul. Whatever is happening is a Supreme Court chukado. This is what is exactly has happened. Universal force, because whatever moment we have in front of us, it is the most alive moment there is, right? Whatever else could happen, should happen, would have happened, it's all imagination. It's not there. There is no life force behind it. But the moment that is in front of us is full of life force. Every single thing, even the thing that you don't like and dislike is besides that point. Every single situation that is in front of us is full of life force. And that life force is the consciousness. Consciousness is presenting this scenario in front of you. And by disrespecting that, by not liking it, you're disrespecting the consciousness. So such a tremendous universal forces have created what is in front of you. Liking and dislike is your creation. So, Maharshi Ramamurthy, he was saying, he says, there is nothing wrong with the world. World is fine. It's you that have a problem. So liking and disliking is our creation. So if we change that liking and disliking, then everything is okay. So that's the thing, so sometimes you have to put the faces and all those things, but if you start really deep thinking, and if you reach to that level, you start liking everyone, at least not hating them, and you start accepting whoever is in front of you has that kind of situation. Anekantvad, Mahavir Swami is always put down. Anekantvad. It's a beautiful concept, right? Means consciousness has millions of ways to manifest. It creates, it picks up, it's manifesting through you, manifesting through you, manifesting through me, through everyone. And look how much the consciousness has created. In a short time, like 13 billion years, the whole universe has created. In last 1 million years, the human beings are created. But before that, so many species were created and destroyed, and they're being created and being destroyed. As we speak, every single day there are species being created and destroyed. So there are so many forms the consciousness has taken. So many flowers, so many fruits, so many insects, and the number of insects there are is so many more. The most prolific species in the world is the insects. They said the maximum number of species you find under the phylum of the insects. And it's like amazing how but it's all consciousness. It's all come from the same soil. So consciousness has anekantmat, has ability to manifest itself in so many different ways, right? And who are you to judge one is better than the other? And that's where the problem comes in. When we dislike certain situation, we are forgetting the anekantvad. So Mahavir Swami had put down beautiful. He says, when you start accepting the multiplicity, the capacity of the consciousness, then every single person, every single human being, every single insect, every single mosquito is a creation of the consciousness. So what is there not to like? It is all God. It is all consciousness. So, and again, thinking and argument is one thing, but when you start believing in it, that's when the fun starts. Two different things. Keep talking if it is one thing, and I say something, you say, oh yeah, that makes sense. But you walk out of here and you back to say, that's different, two different things, So that's why they say, Shravan, Manan and Acharan. Acharan is not going to happen until the Manan takes place. Shravan and Acharan, again, is a disintegration. You're acting because without that, going through that very important step of Manan. Manan has to be there. Until you ability to listen to this and then digest it and understand it totally 100%, and then that knowledge is the sansar is for practical aspect of that knowledge. Then you apply it and things start changing. Things do start changing. Believe me, that's my personal experience, that it do change. I'm not saying that I'm all the way there or anything like, but even little bit dabbling that I have done in spirituality, things do change. Then you start accepting everybody's weaknesses, everybody's differences as just another way of manifesting of the consciousness. That he or she also has a right to be where he or she is. He or she also has, they're entitled to believe with their own beliefs. So their beliefs they're entitled to, their acting they're entitled to, as long as they're not causing harm to each other or that, everything is fine. But the fruits of that action, that your thoughts comes back to you, the peace. The peace that you get out of that is amazing. Because as soon as you start accepting the way they are, then your desire to change them disappears. You say, why change? This is the way they are, this is the way I am. I respect them, they respect me. That's the end of that. So the fact and the maximum you see is, of course, in married life, in husband and wife trying to change each other, right? There's a 60%, 80% of the marriages break down in this country. It's because people try to change each other. Why change? Why not accept it the way it is, So, and try change yourself. That's so difficult as it is. On top of that, you try to change somebody else, and it's not easy. So when you start accepting everyone, and not just marriage, even at work life, in a work situation, in everywhere you go, and you start accepting everybody as it is, then there is no problem. And now you don't have to change anybody. So your half of your work is gone. So your mind activity slows down. He says, I'm accepting the world as it is, in a positive way, not in a negative way. Oh, this world is like that and I'm walking away at this so, miserable life. And not like that. In a positive way, that you accept it. That, okay, it is just another way of manifestation of the consciousness. So that's why I say, when you go on a cruise, how come you're happy on a cruise? Because you don't have to do anything, right? Your beds are made out,
That
deck
is the best
clean.
vacation they
Right,
say.
I know, exactly. So
Thank you.
the thing is that when we go on a cruise, because everything
We were
else has
planning a
been...
family reunion. Like
Right.
whole family, we said cruise is the
Cruise
best.
is the
Nobody
fun.
has to
Nobody
do
has to
anything,
do it.
so no.
Exactly.
Especially women.
Exactly.
Like 4 or 5 families.
Right. But I tell my patients, I said, if I put you in a charge of the deck while you are there, even for 1 week, even for 1 day, then your mind is going to be, the deck has to stay clean. Oh, this guy did this guy did that. We go clean that, this and that. So now your work, now it becomes your problem. So now there is no peace, there is no happiness. The same way, when we live our life, if we're going to keep on trying to change everybody around us, we're going to be miserable. Because more than often, we're not going to be able to change them. Once in a while, we may have a success, but 99% of the time, there is not going to be any success. We won't be able to change them. And meanwhile, we're going to suffer. And then we're losing a very important, life. At the timing of our life is we're losing. There is no peace. So we're losing the very important aspect that we could have enjoyed. The Shanta Sudaras, we lose that. The Shanti that we have, we miss that. So that's why the acceptance, Anekantavad, is beautiful. And it's very nice, very powerful concept. If you put it inside and put it in the daily life, life becomes really nice. But this was just the excursion.
No, they made it like a lot clear.
Yeah.
In Marathi, just real quickly, in Marathi there is
Right.
like say, Aliya Bhukashi Asave Sadar.
Mhm.
The same thing, be ready for the present moment the way it is
Yeah.
in a positive way.
Right, exactly.
Just,
You're not, and the best way to do it is to become an observer. If you're an observer, you're not a creator, you're not a maintainer, you're not a doer. He is the creator, he is the maintainer, he is the doer, and you are here to only observe the whole Leela. So when you become an observer, a lot of times things just fall into its places by itself. A lot of times you don't have to do nothing, and still the results come out exactly the way you wanted them. Sometimes say, oh, maybe I should do this and I should do this and that. Okay, don't do anything. And it comes out exactly the way you wanted it right in the first place. And if you had interfered, probably could have done the other way around.
like big parties, once you arrange everything is on autopilot.
Right, exactly,
Big wedding
yeah.
parties or
Right,
big
right.
receptions, you just invite, you big responsibility. Everything comes in, 6 people
Right,
come
right,
in, they help. Everything goes on.
Sure, sure.
Host doesn't have to do with every little
Every
moment.
little thing, yeah,
You just
exactly.
enjoy yourself.
Right, exactly. So the problem is why we're seeking Shanti is because we have Ashanti in our life. And why we have Ashanti is because of our Rag and Dvesh. So whatever is in front of us, we get either attached or hate. Rag and Dvesh. So these are the dualities. And both of the things is going to hurt us. Because the only time when you become an observer, you're not involved. If you have an opinion about any situation, liking or disliking, that's where the mind goes and attaches itself towards whatever object, person or situation that is created in the front of us, right? So we are living the life of a duality. And only time when you will have peace is when you rise above the duality, meaning not hatred, because hatred still accepts the existence of that situation or the object as something that you dislike, but it still is in your head. But when you go above that, then you are accepting as it is just happening. You have no opinion about it. It's like standing on a balcony looking at a fight going on a street, right? And that fight, you're not involved. There are two parties fighting, you have nothing to do with that, you're just observing it. And you become an observer, you have nothing. But as soon as you come out of your door and get involved, no, you did this and you did that, then you are torn between the two parties and you're taking sides, then the duality starts. So when you stay as an observer, the life of singularity or the life of Atma, the soul, becomes very important. So the Rag and Dvesh, they both are the products of the mind. So it's the mind that is the interference. Because we are the soul. And we as a soul, we are entitled to have perpetual bliss and perpetual happiness. Why we are not having it is the faulty instrument that we're using to see the sansar. The same sansar can be seen in a different way if we are living a different stage of life. If we are at the mind level, we see things different, and at the soul level, we see the things different. So mind is the interference. Mind generates, because the mind itself is the ahankar, is the identification, your own identification. As soon as I like something, I dislike everything else. If I like one person so much, then other persons, they fall short of my expectation of a person that I like. Then everybody else becomes meaningless. So the differentiation starts. So that's how the mind keeps on playing the tricks. So the problem is with the mind is that it does not give you the total vision of that person. Like if a person comes in front of you, 5 minutes ago what that person did, you're not going to know. There is no way for you to know except whatever he or she is in front of you.
Correct.
Right? So it's like looking at the moon. And you see only the bright side of the moon, but you cannot see the dark side of the moon. Right? So whatever is in front of you is the manifest aspect of a person. As soon as the person disappears from your vision, he becomes unmanifest. He may exist, but it's unmanifest as far as you are concerned. He or she, whatever is doing in that time, you're not going to know. But mind makes you believe that mind knows everything. So you base your judgment based on whatever slit, very tiny window that you have to look into a person's life, and you base your opinion based on that. And that's where the mind makes a mistake. So we are so used to believe the world as it is through the very narrow slit-like vision that we have for the whole world, that we start accepting and we start believing that this is all there is. The manifest and unmanifest aspects, we don't even think about it. So that's where we are suffering. We are not having what they call samyak darshan. Samyak darshan means total darshan. It's the only time when we realize, when you put the philosophical thoughts into the whole thing, how this person used to be so young, now she's adult, she's going to be old. All these things we don't even think about it. But it's there, we know that. Like chicken and egg, we always talk about it, right? The chicken has unmanifest egg inside. But as soon as the egg is manifest, the chicken is gone, but the egg has the chicken in it, in unmanifest form. So the play of manifest and unmanifest is a continuous thing. So when you look at a chicken and not think about the egg, and when you look at the egg, for you the chicken and egg are two different things. But they're not. They are interwoven into one another. Chicken is holding the unmanifest egg is holding the unmanifest chicken, and it's a continuous process. So it's that continuous process we should think of. Is the manifestation, how the consciousness is playing the games with us of the manifest, unmanifest, unmanifest, unmanifest. That totality, once you have that concept of infinity, then it doesn't matter what is in front of you. Then you're lifting yourself over the life of duality. The mind does not let you do that, because mind was meant to enjoy the duality. And mind holds on to the whatever is in front of you, does not let you believe whatever is not in front of you, and the mind becomes the power, and you become under the mind. So when you want to raise yourself, so it's like when you want to have shanti in your life, they say it's like, Rajneesh says, it's like you go to a doctor and he says, doctor, my sickness, can you make it healthy? Sickness cannot be healthy. To become healthy, you have to get rid of the sickness. Mind is the sickness. So when you want to say that I want to have peace of mind, you cannot have peace of mind. As long as mind is there, you cannot have peace. Because mind is meant to create the duality. It's like if you have a fan that's continuously rotating and you're trying to see through that, you're not going to have a total picture of the room, because it's going to be continuously broken by the blades of the fan, right? So you're trying to see the sansar through the eyes of the mind. But when you transcend the mind, that's when you see the total picture. So that's why he says you go and, Rajni says you go and ask the germs, is the treatment okay with you? You know, the germs don't like it. Germs don't like the treatment. Why would they say yes? So that's why he was saying that we had one Mahashaya came and he says, I want to have peace of mind. You know, he says, you cannot have peace of mind. I want you to transcend the mind. No, I don't want to listen to that. Give me some tricks so I can have peace of mind. It's an oxymoron. As long as you have the mind, you're not going to have peace. So the key thing is to transcend the mind. And yet we need the mind. We need mind every single day. We need to function in the world. But that's why you're going to see the things. Your senses are gonna make you see the things, hear things, touch things, smell things. This only time when you can do all these things and still not get involved is drashta drashti. You become an observer and consider the whole thing as nothing but a play of consciousness that it has created the senses for you to enjoy what consciousness wanted you to enjoy. It's all decided. Don't think this is your creation, has nothing to do. Ego is nothing, has no value at all. We get involved in the I can do this, I can do this, and I can. As soon as the life force is taken out, you are nothing. Michelangelo is dead. After creating all these things. But he cannot take pride in this as long as the pride is coming from the consciousness. The consciousness is operating through him. It wasn't him. The consciousness was operating through him. And the more and more we suppress our ego, the consciousness comes out through us. Because consciousness is also an observer. Consciousness is not a creator. Consciousness is not a maintainer. Consciousness is not a destroyer. Consciousness is an observer. The creation, maintenance, and all the destruction, it's all in our head. Right? Because it's again at the mind level. Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, they're all at the mind level. But Brahma, the ultimate Brahma, is above. Brahman, they call. Brahma is the creator of the universe, and Vishnu is the maintainer, and the Shiva is the destroyer. But Brahman, which is ultimate Ishvara, is beyond all the three. And they all, because creation and maintenance and destruction, again, is at the mind level. The concepts of creation is only at the mind level. Because it requires the time and the space, it creates the materials that is separating from each other. Then as soon as Nilesh Bhai was created, I was created, this and that, all those things, time and space are needed. And we know, we have argued in the past. What is time? Time is just the relative motion of the objects. What is space? It is just the distance between the two. And so all these things are just the creation. And so Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh operate at a very lower level than the Ishvara, is the ultimate Paramatma. So at that level, the true role of the consciousness is just to be an observer. So when you become an observer, you're going closer and closer to the consciousness, the Paramatma. So the mind not only does not let you see the unmanifest part, but also creates arguments that how can you have faith in something you don't see? That's why I had seen that show on the PBS about the working of the neurons. How the magician, when he does that, the tricks in front of you, how we get carried away. And yeah, we know it is a trick. But they found out that there are two sets of neurons in our brain. Some neurons are created to see the motion that is happening in front of us. And
To follow
to follow the motion that is happening. So the guy is doing this. And at the other hand, he's taking your wallet out and you're not even seeing it. He says, what happened? So you're so busy looking at his motion, and meanwhile your wallet is gone, right? So there are two sorts of neurons. The one set of neurons is meant to just follow the motion that is in front of you. And the second set of neurons, which is more important, is to minimize the importance of the things which are not mobile.
It's a survival.
So it's like
a survival technique to see the lion behind the tree and save yourself.
Right. So forget about the forest. You see the lion,
Yeah.
and it is
It's a survival
important. There is
technique.
no question about it.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yes.
But at the same time, it shows the purpose of the whole creation is for you to enjoy all this motion. What is motion? Motion is sansar. Because before the universe was created, there was no motion. Motion is not possible in consciousness, because consciousness is one infinite thing, right? How can you move? To move, you have to go from one place to another. But wherever it goes, it's consciousness alone. This must be a boring life for consciousness. There is no motion. You cannot do anything, because your Paramatma is everywhere. So there is an instant, wherever he wants to go, it is already there. Before even say, right? So, what's that?
અમુક સંત મહાત્મા કે
Right.
I don't want to be Amar.
Exactly.
Because it's boring.
Yeah, it's
It's so
boring,
boring.
yeah.
The life must be so boring.
It's like you get stuck with one Toyota for the rest of your life.
You cannot travel anywhere.
Yeah. You're stuck.
You cannot go to Tirth.
અને
cannot know what's
હું મિક્સ મર્દ થઈ જાઉં અંદર તો પછી મારે ભક્તિ કરવાની જરૂરત ના રહે. I don't want to.
You cannot go and watch US Open on Chess Stadium. Where do I go? I'm already there.
So I want to stay little away so I can enjoy it. Conversation.
Exactly. So that's why they say, big Mahatma, they say, I would rather be in the sansara and look at the leela of the sansara without getting attached to it. Because once you transcend all these things, there is nothing there. There is an internal pleasure though, believe me. They say all these things for nothing. They reach nirvana and moksha and all these things. I'm sure there is an internal pleasure. At that level, you don't have to be anywhere. You just ask for that pleasure, it's there. And that's it. So that's what they say. So, but the key thing is, it dissects the whole existence for us. Is how the neurons were created to enjoy the existence that's around us. And that's how the life goes, But is the mind, the beauty of the mind is really the purpose of the mind is to see the motion that is going on in front of us. And motion is all the life is about. Because even though you think that objects are steady, they're mobile. All the electrons and protons and neutrons are continuously moving inside us. Even we are sitting and meditating, it's continuously moving, right? So that motion is always there. And that's what the mind was created for that.